Action Comics 1038, Philip K. Johnson writing with Miguel Mendonça on the art. So this is our second proper part of the Warworld saga, and it is after Superman's defeat last issue. It gets heavy. It has some hope in the darkness.
This was bleak. So this was the last thing I read this week, and I kept seeing praise. And while it is very good, I should have waited to shouldn't have waited this long.
I was going to say, you couldn't have left it any longer, Matt. It was the last book you read.
That's what I meant.
Are you saying it was kind of overhyped for you, or that it was so good you should have read it first?
I should have read it sooner because I came in and I wasn't ready for it to be that bleak. Because, when you hear, oh my God, it was amazing, I'm thinking, oh, we're going to get some Superman doing, heroic stuff. And it was like, oh no, the Superman getting beat down for 24 pages.
It's part 2, Matt. We got a while to go before Superman's winning.
No. But what I mean is, because I try to steer clear from stuff, but hearing how some of the fellow Superman fans on Twitter and other places were going on about this, it was like, this is why Superman works. So I'm like, oh, we're gonna get some Superman diatribes, and we do, but in between just utter bleakness and like.
Oh yeah, I mean that's.
I think when people are saying this is why Superman works, they are, I assume, referring to the fact that he is still optimistic, still putting in a good fight.
I mean,
despite his situation.
The issue starts. He's in chains, like all of the Warzoons or whatever we're calling them.
Warzoons.
Yeah. So like, obviously, Light Ray get killed last issue.
Yep.
The others are in chains, they're pissed. I mean, there is a moment where Omak breaks out, but Mongol, who is just, like, mows them down with his beam. Great full-page spread from Mendonça. And I've always, like, Mendonça's art's always been solid enough, but I think that this is elevating what I think of Miguel Mendonça's artwork, this start.
And just the way that he's drawing the Warworld settings, too. Like, it's grimy. And it has texture to it that I don't remember reading other Mendonça books.
Yeah,
so
because Mendonça was one of those, like, just sort of like, he's solid, but he's kind of one of the house artists. Was just kind of the feeling with him before.
A good feeling, like if you saw Mendonça's name on the cover and it was like a fill-in issue, you knew you were in good hands, but you weren't exactly looking forward to the Mendonça art.
Yeah.
Here, though, I feel like that has gotten elevated. And
yeah, it feels like this is kind of it feels a bit of a coming out party in a sense of like, hey, he can be kind of an A-lister now, and we can sort of be excited for him being an artist on a book.
Yeah,
I think something as well that needs to be said is Adriano Lucas's colors, kind of bridging that gap from Sampere into this.
That might
seamless.
be what adds to the griminess too, because there's a lot of harsh.
I think the harsh inks as well. I think especially on Mongol, like he always has the harsh shadows in his face. I think that works really well. But anyway, so they bring out like one of these soldiers, the one who failed to capture Midnighter because Midnighter ran away, and he's like, "Hey, Kal-El, you will murder him, and if you don't, first of all, your tail will be much worse. But then I will hunt down your son." And then he also just casually throws in, his wife and his sisters will all be used as sex slaves to, spawn new generations of my warriors. Like, it's super, like, this issue for a Superman comic book, this issue hints on some pretty dark stuff.
I like villains that are fun. Mongol is not fun.
No, he's not.
I can't wait for Superman to, like, I feel like where this is going, just in the grand scheme of other fiction that's like this, where the evil overlord gets overthrown by his own people and gets ripped limb from limb by them. I hope that happens to Mongol. Like, I'm looking forward to it. Being that it's Superman, he'll probably stop them because he's Superman. But yeah, that
well, if it does happen, there's always a Mongol who will be, so it's fine.
Exactly.
True, but is it as bad as this one? Right? Like,
yeah, I mean, Superman shows defiance. He grabs the axe he's supposed to use to kill this soldier. And
can we talk about how cool the axe is? Just that the axe head is just chained on to the handle.
Yeah.
It's just tied on with a chain.
Right.
But he grabs the axe and he throws it. And this is the thing. So he has this moment where he actually breaks out. And he doesn't use it to fight. He doesn't use it to get away. He uses it to sort of like say goodbye to Light Ray and sort of apologize and just, give her like a send off. And that's what he uses his few seconds for that he has, as because obviously they're coming to like chain him back up. Like they're not going to just let him stroll around. So I thought that was a really effective moment because almost for like the start of that page, like after he throws the axe at the end of the page, and then you see her, like her chains like break down and the body drops. And for the top half of that page as he's carrying, I thought, what the hell? Where's the urgency? You just broke out your chain. Like surely they're coming. But then as the page went on, it was like, no, that's the point. Is that he's just saying this while he has a chance right before he gets knocked out again. It's a really sweet moment. It's very Superman.
Did they just knock him out, or did they kill her as well? Because obviously there's an actual blood splat.
Yeah, well, she already did.
All right, she already did. I couldn't remember if she was dead or just unconscious.
Yeah, she died last issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's an actual blood splat, which is what made it more ambiguous.
Right.
I think it's just his blood.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah, because didn't the big tank baby is the one they killed?
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
The others, Natasha or Nat, are taken to get their first chains, and as we've learned, it's been built up properly up to this point that they get more links in their chain. So the longer their chain is, the more people they've killed, and because they killed some of Mongol's people, they get a couple of links. So Natasha gets like 2 little chain links between her shackles.
And if you notice on Superman, he has none. Right, his shackles are a straight bar, which I think that's a little thing that builds Warworld.
Yeah.
Too.
So really great stuff. It builds up some of these characters are still prisoners that are there to be used, but I think where it gets the most powerful is where Superman's thrown into a cell with a bunch of the other slaves and prisoners, and like some of these are Thelosians, and they talk about how he's supposed to be Superman, he's supposed to be this great thing, and they act scared of him. There's the one sort of young person, and I really love this actually, that Superman points out, oh, you're like the same age as my son, he's about to turn 12. And I love that he's passing out as he says that, because obviously we were all thinking, well, no, John aged up. But the fact that he still thinks of John, because that's what he would be. He would just be about to turn 12.
Right.
Had he
not gone on that adventure with his crazy ass grandpa.
Do you think we're going to get something in this run of him kind of reflecting on the fact that he lost more of those years than...
Yeah, possibly.
I mean, maybe, but I don't think that's the point in this.
No, but this is showing that's still in there, right?
Yeah.
Like he still thinks of his son as 12, and he's just, even though John has had actual experience, he isn't actually 12. It's not like he was just in an aged up body.
Right.
The way he still sees he's missing.
For all
those
intents and
years.
purposes, he's 17, 18.
Yeah, because John still grew up. John still experienced that time.
Yes.
It didn't.
So it's not like he isn't an adult or anything like that. It's not that he didn't have those experiences, but Clark missed them.
I think, it's a mix of that, but it's also just a very real thing that parents often still, like, it doesn't matter how old your kid gets, they could be 40, but he's still my baby boy, my baby girl, there's still a bit of that vibe going on as well. But yeah, no, every time, like, Clark, like, just kind of, like, gets out, like, my son's just like you, or I won't hurt you, he's just, he's whispering these things as best he can, but he's struggling. And,
really, really good lettering as well. Like, you've got the wavy bubbles to show it's, like, broken, and then even the words aren't straight.
Yeah, because I love the start of the issue. All the world building it's doing, all the stuff that it's doing with the plot, I love. But when Midnighter sort of comes in with a blaster, and he's like, "I'm going to get you out of here. Let's leave. Let's abandon the place and just blow everything up. Nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure." And Clark, as you expect, is like, "No, we can't let these people die." And he's like, "These people cheered as some of us were killed. Like, they don't want our help. They are actively fighting against us. Like, why would we do this?" And so the debate itself is really good, but the final line is like perfect, because Midnighter says, "Are their lives more valuable than your friends, than ours?" And he says, "No, not more," but then says, "But not less." And it's just there's a perfect cap onto the point of what the scene is, and you do get that one character who's awake, who's listening to say it. So the idea that yes, they've all been indoctrinated into Mongol's world, into War World, and how like he's treated them to believe in the chain and like killing and all that. But you have that, and then the final beat is that what the one more monstrous looking dude, and I think it's the prisoner from the start of the issue. Who was supposed
he's the one that Superman was meant to kill.
Yeah, so he's in a cell across from him, and the last page of the issue is him drawing the S shield in the sand and just saying hope, and it's just this little moment of like, he might already be breaking through to them just a little bit. It's going to take time, but that seed's already there.
Well, yeah, and I like that too, is that like he explains to Midnighter like, yeah, we could just free everybody, but that's not going to change anything, right? Because there's always going to be a Mongol.
They have to choose.
Right?
They have to choose to want to leave. Yeah.
We can't just bring them freedom and go, you're free now. And when you know about Philip Keone Johnson being in the military, right? Because he's still a military musician. You know, I feel like that informs this. Whereas, like, yeah, you can go in crying freedom, but if the people themselves don't understand that concept, you're just going to get another that's happening again, right? You got to actually go in there and change their minds.
It's not like just recently the US and other countries pulled out of places they had occupied for a decade, and then immediately things changed because the people had never learned what it was, not through their fault, but because it was just, this is the scenario they were told was the case, not what they actually chose.
Right. And you can definitely feel the real world like parallels with Warworld and some of these other, you know, because even thinking about like ancient cultures, right? Like Warworld's kind of like ancient Rome, right?
It's funny because there's definitely some vibes in this that reminds me of Gladiator. Like it's not the exact same thing because, you know, that was all about winning the crowd to win your freedom, but this is winning the hearts and minds of the other slaves and to convincing them to, like, you know. So there's definitely some parallels that you can throw in there.
We get told about the glory of Rome.
That's the Spartacus story, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. But like, we get told about like the glory of Rome and stuff, right? But to the places that Rome was conquering, I'm sure it looked a lot more like Warworld.
It was, yeah. I mean, to the places Rome was conquering, it was occupation, right? It was
right.
Yeah, it was invasion and terrifying. I'm certain of that.
So like putting out Spartacus, that I didn't even make that. Like, of course, that's the easy one to go to.
It is the easy one to go to. It came to mind first, admittedly.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about putting Superman into this type of story is that, like, typically when you set stories in ancient Rome or you're thinking about that time period, it's very savage. So even the heroic characters are a bit more, you know, ready to kill. They're a bit more edgy. I think putting Superman and like have him being defiantly like, no, I'm not going to like lose who I am here. I'm not. You're not going to break my spirit. In fact, I compared it to another movie, bizarrely. I think a little bit of Cool Hand Luke, and this is a weird comparison, but Cool Hand Luke's whole thing is that Paul Newman in that movie is like sent to prison, and the guards are trying to break him and make him lose his spirit. And it's not even that he's like a hero in that movie or he's like a noble guy like Superman. He just refuses to never like stop having his character and his personality no matter what. That's just kind of it. So a little bit of that defiance here, but it's more noble because it's Superman and it's about him trying to like convince these people that they are worth saving, they're worth getting out of this place, and they're not beholding to Mongol. So
like you brought up, remind you of Gladiator, but Maximus was still a general, right? That's why he was so good at fighting. And like, that's not Superman. Like, yeah, he's big and strong and powerful.
It's Superman in the sense that he has experience, right?
Yeah, but like, he even knows he's not going to change their mind by being the bigger and badder than Mongol.
I mean, I think
he has to show them that Mongol's not right. Like,
I think the fair part I compare it to Gladiator, outside of just the combat and the slaves and the Rome and all that stuff, the Colosseum, is that the one thing Maximus does have in common with Superman, though, is he was kind of a heroic figure before he get trapped there. Like, people kind of knew who he was. He was kind of this mythic character almost to a lot of people. And the idea that he did have, if you watch Gladiator again, there's a whole like sort of plot beat where is that if word gets back to the army that he led, before he was enslaved, find out, like they'll come running and he'll have an army behind him. And I think with Superman you could almost make the argument like, yeah, if word gets out to the Justice League that he's here like this, like they will come in like being the Justice League and they will save the day, but it won't necessarily solve the problem that Superman's trying to fix. Because
Midnighter even brings up like the suns that fuel the world and whatnot, and like that discussion about, well, yeah, we'll just knock him out and take out Warworld and that takes out the problem. It's like, well, no, it doesn't. So it's, Johnson's really created a rock and a hard place for Superman, and really built up that, how is he going to do this? Because it's not a typical superhero story where the cavalry can just come in and save the day.
Very telling that I'm on the record before as my favorite Superman story in the past being Superman and the Legion, where he's in the future and he has no powers, and it's about what does he do still being Superman but with no powers. And oh look, here we are again in a world where Superman has no powers, and what does he do? I suspect by the end of this might be up there, alongside Superman and the Legion in my favorite Superman stories.
What's so funny is the whole Superman and Batman comparison is weird to me in a lot of ways, because I'm like, my favorite stories for both characters in many ways is about like someone trying to break their spirit and them like saying, no, I'm goddamn Batman or I'm goddamn Superman. Not literally, obviously.
No.
But
I mean, with Bruce, that's a little bit more on point than it is with Superman.
I think he just admitted All-Star Batman was
no.
That's
not what I said. That's not what I said.
I think that is exactly what you said.
But yeah, no, like there was, I think it was Morrison that said there's no such thing as bad characters, just bad writers, right? And that goes here too, because the amount of fighting I usually have to do over Superman, it's refreshing seeing how many people talking about how good action is, or even with Tom Taylor's Son of Kal-El, which is still good. I mean, it's not at this level, right? But how many more eyes are getting to it, and it's refreshing that I don't constantly have to defend. Like, oh no, you guys should be reading this, right? It's actually good. Like it's
Makes
such
you sound like an Aquaman fan.
Yeah, right? Yeah. No, that's why I liked Aquaman for the longest time too. So it's along the same lines where it's like, well, no, if you guys actually read instead of just, it's like, did you come up with that, or is that what pop culture is telling you? You know? So, but no, I think this is definitely, like Connor did say, this is going to be an all-timer Superman story. We're not even a third of the way through it.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like we're just scratching the surface, because we only just started the actual saga 2 issues ago.
You kept saying this is part 3.
Is it part 3? Sorry.
Okay.
I feel like someone will be out there nitpicking, and I might as well get it out of the way.
I guess I was thinking of them arriving at the planet last issue, and that was the first part. I guess the first part was them on the way. I don't know. Whatever. Like.
Yeah, because the first part ends with the confrontation, right, and it revealed the hair.
And then the second issue was just the fight mostly. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. All right. That's just blending together. All right.
I'm just saying.
That's all it is. I can't wait until this time next year when we're doing our annual episode for 2022, because at that point we'll have had a full year of Warworld Saga, and I'm curious to see how we feel about it in a year's time. So,
well, let's just think that if he's building to that moment from the future state, with Superman in the gladiatorial arena, like, and that's kind of his prologue. What the hell? Where is this gonna go? Right? Like, that's what he was giving us to give us a taste. What else does he have in store? I can't imagine.
All right, Matt, what are you giving Action Comics 1038?
I'm gonna give this a 9.
Connor?
I'm gonna go with an 8.5.
I'm gonna agree with the 9. I really have nothing to really say. This is just exciting ongoing comic book as you get, pretty much.
Maybe a little bit higher if there wasn't a backup. This was just the full pages. It could have got that.
Yeah, but I wasn't even going to ask about the backup, to be honest.
No, I'm just saying, like, I got there, I thought I had more pages, and then you get to the end, you're like, oh yeah, there's a backup.